Welcome to ASHP's Getting Started in Non-Sterile Compounding. Today we're going to talk about the basics of non-sterile compounding.
In this program, we'll show you the most common forms of compounded preparations, explain the equipment most often used, and take a look at the fundamental techniques of this process.
As you'll see, non-sterile compounding can be interesting and challenging and is an important part of your job.
So let's get started.
First of all, what is non-sterile compounding? Compounding means preparing or mixing medications in dosage forms, strengths, or combinations that are not commercially available. Preparations such as suppositories, creams, lotions, syrups, capsules, and sublingual tablets are considered non-sterile because of the routes of administration. They don't bypass the alimentary tract and are processed through the organs that form the body's natural filtering system, such as the stomach, liver, and GI tract.
When compounds bypass the body's natural filter mechanisms and enter the bloodstream directly, preparation requires sterile or aseptic compounding techniques. Some routes of administration requiring aseptic preparation would be intranasal, inhalation, injectables, and ophthalmic preparations.
Compounding is a little like baking a cake. If the ingredients in a preparation aren't measured accurately, the patient may not get the prescribed dosage, or worse yet, may get too much.
Commercial medications typically come in just a few strengths and dosage forms. Compounding allows us to tailor a medication's strength and dosage form to meet an individual patient's needs. Applications for non-sterile compounding include making medications that are not commercially available, providing pediatric patients with smaller, more suitable doses, adding or masking flavors, creating veterinary medications, providing customized dosage forms to patients that may have trouble swallowing, preparing specialized pain, wound, hormone replacement therapy, and dermatological medications. As you can see, there are many important applications for compounding.
Compounded pharmaceuticals are prescribed in a variety of dosage forms, from ointments and suspensions to powders and even lollipops, technically called medication sticks. Prescriptions might also require adding or changing the flavor of an existing product.
Compounding non-sterile preparations has been practiced since ancient times. Today, the practice is guided by the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, state and national boards of pharmacy, national quality organizations such as the United States Pharmacopoeia, or USP, and international pharmacy societies such as ASHP.
The drug dosage form or drug delivery system is how medication is delivered to a patient. Understanding these forms is essential to learning about compounding. Let's take a closer look at the various dosage forms.
Oral solutions may be used in a variety of patient situations.
My throat is scratchy.
Okay, I'll be right back.
For example, an oral solution is a great option when a patient cannot swallow tablets or capsules because of their condition or age. When a medication is sour or bitter, a solution can be used to mask taste. The base of an oral solution can be aqueous, water-based, alcoholic, alcohol-based, or hydroalcoholic, water and alcohol-based. The best base for a particular solution is determined by its active ingredients. For example, most antibiotic solutions have an aqueous base. Some cough syrups have an alcohol base. And phenobarbital elixir is one common example of a hydroalcoholic-based solution.
Solutions are also categorized by their contents. Some familiar solutions include aromatic, elixir, extract, suspension, syrup, and tincture. Aromatic solutions contain extracts and oils with a strong, usually pleasant smell that is easily diffused in the air. Elixirs are typically clear, sweetened, flavored solutions in hydroalcoholic bases. Extracts are concentrated, potent dosage forms, usually derived from plant or animal sources that have been evaporated into a powder and then suspended in a topical or oral solution. Suspensions are typically aqueous-based solutions in which particles are suspended throughout the solution, not dissolved, by shaking. To mask the poor taste, suspensions usually contain flavoring. Syrups are thick solutions containing large amounts of sugar, sorbitol, or other sweetening or thickening agents. Syrups may also contain flavoring to mask the taste of the active ingredient. Tinctures, also known as spirits, are typically alcohol or hydroalcoholic-based solutions containing plant extracts.
Another type of preparation, called emulsions, contain oil and water. Creams and lotions are oil and water emulsions. This means they contain more water than oil and apply smoothly to the skin, leaving a very thin film. Ointments and pastes are water and oil emulsions, which mean they contain more oil than water. These also apply smoothly, yet often leave behind a greasy feeling on the skin. The primary tools used to prepare creams, lotions, pastes, and ointments are a compounding slab and a spatula, used to mix the medication into petroleum or lanolin-based products, such as Vaseline, Aquaphor, or Eucerin. The result is a smooth, appealing preparation for the patient. Tablets are an extremely flexible, non-sterile dosage form, but since most are available commercially, we won't be talking about them today.
Now, let's talk about the variety of solid dosage forms that are compounded preparations. Capsules are considered solid dosage forms, though they may contain liquid, granules, powder, and even tablet medications. The outer shell can be hard or soft and is made of animal or vegetable products. Capsules dissolve quickly when taken orally. As the gelatin outer shell dissolves, the medication inside is easily absorbed into the bloodstream and distributed throughout the body. Suppositories are solid dosage forms that are inserted into the body's orifices, such as the rectum, vagina, or urethra. Suppositories can be compounded very easily by combining the necessary medications into a base of cocoa butter or glycerin. These bases take the form of a mold easily and allow the medication to dissolve at body temperature. Preparing suppositories involves melting the base and adding the medication. The mixture is then poured into a mold and chilled immediately, ensuring the suspended ingredients won't have time to settle. The suppository dosage form allows for complete absorption of the active ingredients and quick delivery of the medication.
Like creams and lotions, powders are used externally and are not often available commercially with the correct amounts of medication in one formulation. To prepare a compounded powder, the particles must be uniform in both size and density. This is accomplished by combining the powders together in a mortar and pestle.
This is known as the geometric dilution method. First, place the smaller amount of ingredient into the mortar, adding the next larger amount while gradually mixing the two ingredients together.
The last of the forms we'll discuss today are lozenges, also called trochets. Compounded lozenges are often used by patients who cannot swallow a commercially available product, or for patients who need a topical application to the mouth or throat to relieve soreness or an infection.
There are several pieces of equipment that are used when compounding the medication forms we just learned about. We'll focus on those you use most often.
There are two types of scales, or balances, that are ordinarily used when measuring ingredients to be compounded. Which balance you use can vary depending on where you work, so it's important to understand how to use both. Using these balances properly ensures the correct dosage is prepared. First, let's look at the Class 3 or Class A balance, a two-pan balance that is used to weigh small amounts of ingredients. The material to be weighed is placed on one pan, and the pans are carefully brought into balance using a set of standardized weights placed on the second pan. Typical weight sets contain metric and apothecary weights. In order to avoid hand contact and transfer of oils or moisture to the weights, forceps must be used to lift the weights. If contamination occurs, the weight must be cleaned and recalibrated before using. Even though the weights are made from polished brass, care should be taken to avoid damage or contamination. Use weighing papers to protect the balance, avoid contact with the pharmaceutical ingredients, and assist in transfer of the ingredients. The second of the two scales is a digital balance. This type of balance is very accurate and much easier to use than the Class A balance. The digital balance uses only one pan, where the substance being weighed is placed on a weighing paper within a wind cover to protect the ingredient and provide a more accurate weight.
Liquid ingredients are measured using beakers, volumetric flasks, graduated cylinders, and pipettes. Now let's review the function of each and how to read the measurement accurately. Beakers are wide-mouth glass cylinders with flat bottoms and a pouring spout. They typically range in size from 40 milliliters to 1,000 milliliters, or a liter. Beakers are useful in a laboratory setting because they can hold and transfer large amounts of liquid. They're durable and able to withstand high temperatures from an open flame or a hot plate. Volumetric flasks are small mouth glass containers with a narrow neck that opens into a wide base. Volumetric flasks can have a pouring spout and, like beakers, range in size from 40 milliliters to 1,000 milliliters or more. Volumetric flasks are made to accurately measure precise amounts of liquid at a specific temperature, usually at 20 degrees centigrade or 20 degrees Celsius. Most flasks will have one calibration mark etched around the neck and will note they are calibrated to deliver a certain amount, marked with a TD, or to contain a certain amount, marked with a TC. Some flasks have both calibration marks, TC and TD. The TD mark above the TC mark includes the amount of solution that remains on the wall of the flask when emptied. All TD flasks are calibrated to allow for the film of solution that remains on the walls of the vessel. Graduated cylinders are long cylindrical or conical shaped plastic or glass containers and typically range in size from 10 milliliters to 1,000 milliliters. The cylindrical shape is more accurate and generally preferred. Graduated cylinders are used to measure and transfer liquids only and are not meant for use over open flames or hot plates. Pipettes are long, thin glass or plastic tubes designed to deliver volumes of usually 50 milliliters or less. A special bulb syringe is required to draw fluid into a pipette. Single pipettes are designed to deliver a single fixed volume and are not capable of measuring partial amounts. However, calibrated pipettes are capable of delivering single fixed volumes and partial amounts.
There is definitely a science to accurately measure liquids. It's a technique we call reading the meniscus. A meniscus is the upper surface tension of a liquid that is elevated on the sides and dips downward or forms a concave shape in the center. In order to know the exact amount of liquid within any of the vessels we've discussed, you must know how to correctly read the meniscus. To read the meniscus, place the container on a flat, stable surface to ensure the surface of the liquid is level. Crouch down to eye level with the surface of the liquid and align the lowest point of the meniscus surface with the nearest graduations on the side of the container.
You're probably familiar with syringes, the medical devices used in injection, withdrawal, or irrigation of fluids in and outside the body. We use them in non-sterile compounding in both mixing and administering medicine. Syringes are usually plastic and range in size from 0.5 or 1/2 milliliter to 60 milliliters or more. They're comprised of a barrel and plunger, which are air and liquid tight, and have small volume demarcations along the barrel. Most often, you will use plastic oral syringes when compounding non-sterile preparations. Oral syringes have a large opening called a slip tip. This allows thicker fluids to be easily drawn up into the barrel. These syringes can also be used with a variety of adaptable caps to fit different bottle openings.
Suppository molds are made of plastic, aluminum, or rubber and are used to shape a compounded suppository. Plastic suppository molds come in long strips and can be cut into any number of smaller molds. Once the suppository hardens inside, the open end of the shell is sealed. When the patient is ready to use the suppository, the shell is peeled off and discarded. Aluminum molds consist of two halves held together with screws until the material is added. After the material hardens, the two halves are separated and the suppositories are wrapped in foil for later use. Like plastic molds, rubber suppository molds come in strips that can be cut into shells. The strip is dispensed to the patient in a prescription bottle, and when it is time to administer, the patient pushes the suppository out of the mold.
As we discussed earlier, gelatin capsules are considered solid dosage forms when filled with liquids, powders, or granules and taken orally. The capsule shells are considered compounding equipment until they are filled with these preparations. Gelatin capsules come in a variety of sizes to best fit the needs of the prescription. The capsule's gelatin shells are composed of two parts, the body and the cap. These two parts fit snugly into one another and are filled using the punch method.
Spatulas are usually made of hard rubber or stainless steel and are used for counting tablets and capsules, transferring solid material, and mixing liquid or semi-solid dosage forms. Spatulas are available in a variety of sizes. Despite their name, hard rubber spatulas are somewhat flexible and are best used when counting individual tablets or capsules. Rubber spatulas are useful in spatulation, which we will demonstrate later, and mixing other materials. However, they are porous and may absorb ingredients or react with certain liquids. Stainless steel spatulas are less porous than rubber spatulas and resistant to bending and are best used for counting individual dosage forms. They are very helpful in spatulation and the mixing of other ingredients. While slightly porous, they don't tend to absorb ingredients, nor do they react with liquids. The downside of stainless steel is that it can be corroded by certain metallic ingredients, such as iodine.
We mentioned weighing papers earlier. Now let's look at them in more detail. Weighing papers are small, flexible pieces of paper best used to measure and transport smaller quantities of powder and semi-solids. One side of the paper is wax-coated to prevent absorption and allow for more complete removal of ingredients. Weighing boats, on the other hand, are made of rigid plastic and are used when measuring larger quantities of powders, semi-solids, or other solids. The advantage and disadvantage of these boats is that they have raised edges to protect the contents from contamination and spillage. However, these edges can make the complete removal of contents difficult.
Parchment paper is a special paper used as a substitute for an ointment slab when compounding semi-solid preparations. Although it is porous and may absorb some of the preparation being compounded, parchment paper protects countertops from being damaged and is often used to keep workspaces clean.
Usually made of a 1/4 inch thick piece of glass, ointment slabs are non-porous and are easily cleaned for immediate reuse. In addition, ointment slabs keep the countertops clean and protect them from damage during the compounding process. These features make ointment slabs the preferred surface when compounding. The downside of ointment slabs is that they are easily broken, so be careful.
The mortar and pestle is a piece of equipment most often associated with pharmacy practice. The mortar is a bowl and the pestle is a grinder or pounder. The two pieces are used to crush and mix ingredients during compounding. They can be made of glass, ceramic, or porcelain and come in many sizes. Ceramic or porcelain mortars and pestles are the standard in pharmaceutical compounding. Their surfaces are slightly rougher than the glass models, so ingredients mix together faster. They do absorb ingredients, so clean them thoroughly before and after each use. Because glass mortars do not absorb material, they're preferred when mixing liquids and semi-solid dosage forms.
It's very important to have a purified water source when compounding pharmaceuticals. Automated water dispensers are available to use a special system to filter and purify the water for safe use in the preparation of pharmaceuticals. In addition, these dispensers are designed to accurately dispense specific quantities of water at the push of a button.
Once compounding is complete, the next step is selecting the proper container. The container will help protect the compound while it is being stored and facilitate its use by the patient. Let's take a closer look.
Vials come in different sizes in order to fill most solid dosage prescriptions. Yellow, clear, or amber plastic vials used to dispense medications to patients protect the vial contents from ultraviolet light that may cause degradation and loss of potency over time.
For liquid prescriptions, pharmacies will carry a variety of colored plastic or glass bottles.
We've all used aluminum foil to wrap up leftovers, but have you ever thought about why aluminum is so good for packaging? Aluminum is a very soft and malleable metal, comparatively inexpensive, and holds a shape easily, which is exactly why pharmacies use aluminum foil to wrap suppositories and lozenges. Simple as that.
Just as the vials are designed to store solid dosage forms, ointment jars and tubes are made for storing semi-solid pharmaceutical preparations, such as ointments, gels, creams, pastes, and lotions. These jars and tubes are designed to protect the preparation from light and contamination. Ointment jars and tubes come in a variety of sizes that make it easy to find just the right package. Jars are usually filled using a spatula, while tubes are usually filled with an ointment tube filling bag. You will usually compound more of a preparation than you need to allow for a 10% loss of material during the preparation process. Extra quantities of any preparation must be disposed of properly. Prior to labeling, it's a good idea to wipe around the rim of the jar and clean the outside with alcohol.
Once a preparation has been compounded and a proper package selected, the next step is to document and label, following state regulations as well as federal laws. So, what does documenting or documentation mean, and what exactly is being labeled? Documentation is part of an overall quality assurance or QA program implemented by the pharmacy. The QA program is designed to help ensure that preparations are compounded accurately and that preparations are effective and safe for patient use. Good and consistent record keeping is important in many aspects of pharmacy practice, not least in documenting and labeling preparations. A compounding notebook is used to document information about how a preparation is compounded, including which formulation record was used, date and time of preparation, calculated beyond use date, who made the preparation, what equipment was used, and any quality